Welcome back. Hey, this is Edge of Indy. Hey, I just want to make sure if you haven't seen this show before on Facebook or downloads on iTunes, what Edge of Indy is all about is literally focusing on local Indianapolis entrepreneurs, innovators, what's happening, who's moving and shaking in Indianapolis. We also focus on people and organizations out there who are helping make Indianapolis an awesome place to live. So learn about everything that we do and choose local often. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. So I want to introduce our first guests. We've got Chris Overpeck, board president of Indy Film Fest, as well as and Dan Moore, executive director of Indy Film Fest. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing well. How about you?
Very good, very good. Well, welcome to downtown Indianapolis, to the convention center. We're having a great time here at Indy PopCon. Gentlemen, what is Indy Film Fest all about, and how did the organization get started?
Indy Film Fest has been around for about 15 years now. My tenure here is in the 3 or 4 year range, so how it got started, maybe Dan could speak to that. What we're all about, we're about creating shared experiences around film. That's what we seek to do. We do it year round with events literally January to December. Our primary focus, I think generally and especially right now, is a 10-day festival which kicks off this coming Thursday at the IMA.
Cool. Yeah, so like Craig said, this is our 15th year in existence, roughly. This is
Chris.
Pardon, what did I say? Craig. Sorry, excuse me. But this is our 14th festival, so we've been around a little bit longer than that. I don't actually know a lot about how we got started. We have it's been a long journey for us, and the people who started that journey for the Indy Film Fest have mostly moved on. So the history is actually something that we're doing a lot of research on now, coming up to our 15th year next year.
Excellent. Cool. So this is the 14th Film Fest. It's a 10-day event.
Yes.
All right. In the audience, who loves horror movies? All right. What about sci-fi? Do we got sci-fi in the house? Drama? Come on.
Any emotional drama fans?
Dramedy.
So, I mean, Indy Film Fest, there are so many different genres, right? And let me ask you this. How many applications, how many submissions to Indy Film Fest did you get this year?
So this year we got over 400 submissions. That's includes short films and feature-length films, anywhere from literally 2.5 or 3 minutes all the way up to a little over 2 hours in length.
So then what's the approval process for that? Do you have a committee that watches all 400 of them, or how's that process work?
Yes, so we have a very dedicated and very valued group of volunteers who spend a lot of time, mostly through December through up April or so, watching all the films. So at least 2 or 3 people, have seen all of the submissions that we get, and they give us feedback on it, they rank them. And then we have 3 programmers in each of our 3 main categories: documentary, U.S. Narratives, and foreign narratives. And they pick the program that we're going to have in each of those categories from all those submissions based on that screening feedback.
So it's a 6-month effort that you're doing there to screen all those. It's not a bad gig to just be watching movies, right?
It is. It's a lot of fun. People enjoy it. We get people together in meetings twice a week to watch some of the short films. They have a good time talking about the films that they've seen with the festival, and also other films that they've seen. Can I plug that we're always looking for volunteers?
Always looking for volunteers to watch movies.
Yes, and everything else. So we're still looking for volunteers for this festival too.
Absolutely. So the festival's coming up this coming Thursday.
Yes.
That's starting June 7th here. It's starting Indianapolis, the 48-hour film project. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so that actually starts today, July 7th.
Yeah.
It starts in about, 2 hours. 48-hour film project is a worldwide organization where they round up curious filmmakers, and it's frequently amateurs. They've had professionals do this too. What's going to happen today for the people who have registered is we're going to sit them down and we're going to give them a genre for each team, a prop, a line of dialogue, and a character that has to be used in each film. What this does, obviously, is it prevents them from making their films in advance. At 7:30, they're out of there. They have 48 hours to write, direct, edit, whatever, score a film, and get it back to us on Sunday. We take these and we'll be screening these on Monday and Tuesday of our festival. And the winner of that will move on to a bigger festival. This year it was out in Seattle, where they screened the best of each city, and the winner of that moves on to Cannes. So the opportunities here, this is the last chance for anybody to get into our festival, and it's not too late to register.
Yeah. So last year was the first year.
Last year was the first year that we did this. It was previously run by another great organization in town called Big Car, but we took it on. It fits our mission perfectly.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun. It is insane. There is no way I would do it myself.
Yeah. So how many filmmakers signed up last year? Or
Last year we had, I think, 27 teams. This year we've got about 30 different teams.
30 different teams. They got 48 hours to make a movie.
That's right.
Make it short.
That's right.
And submit it.
And the results would knock you out. They're amazing.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. It was a really difficult task to pick the winners of last year. We have, of course, top three, and then there are various prizes for best use of prop, best acting, and so on. The end product is, they can be really stunning. And like I said, your opportunity to see that will be this Monday and Tuesday, of the festival, which is 17th and 18th, I believe.
Yep. So, there's absolutely no sleep during that 48 hours for these group.
The smart teams will divide and conquer. They'll have writers working through the night tonight, and then they'll get some rest while the actors put it together. And but frequently there is very little sleep.
This is like a prime opportunity for Red Bull to sponsor this event. I'm just thinking.
We've reached out to Red Bull. We've reached out to Hubbard and Cravens. They're all good friends of ours, but no bites yet.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this year's Film Fest. Can you give us a rundown of what we can expect this year?
So we have roughly, I think, 99 films this year that were accepted out of those 400. We have about 30 features, and the rest are short films. We have several world premieres. We have 19 different countries. Any other numbers that you want?
Well, talk about
how many hours? Literally, how many hours of film do we have?
I don't have that number. I should
not
have.
it.
I have seen that number, but I will work on that number for next year. I will have that for you, down to the minute.
There we go. See?
One of the films we're particularly looking forward to is our opening night film, and that's this Thursday.
Yep.
This film is called Wind River. It stars some bigger names: Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen, as well as an actor that we're going to have in town at the screening. His name is
DeCola Clifford?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. We're thrilled. We just found out today that he's going to be coming into town, so we're super excited about that. This film is, I've heard people say it's the best film we've ever shown. It's a shoe-in for Academy Award nominations. It is absolutely stunning. It's very powerful. It's an amazing film. You don't want to miss this. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah. Then I saw the trailer. Trailer's on your website for people who are interested about it. But do movies that come to your festival, they're trying to get funding for
well, Wind River, for instance. Yeah. Wind River already has distribution.
Okay.
Right.
So that will be in theaters much later in the year. But most of the films who come to us, they already have funding. They're already finished films, but they are the submissions are looking for distribution. They're looking for interest. They're looking for buzz to get into other film festivals.
Cool. So, are there any local filmmakers that made the festival this year?
There are a lot of local filmmakers, and you can find that whole list on our website. But we have, I think, about 18 of them here that are local. Now we have our local category is called Hoosier Lens, and that's kind of a broad spectrum. But it's filmmakers who have films with filmmakers who have a strong local connection. They grew up here. But we do have three features that were filmed in Indiana, or primarily in Indiana, and I think 8 or 9 of the shorts were filmed in Indiana also. So.
Excellent.
And by the way, our website is indyfilmfest.org.
Yes.
There it is. Gotta give the plug. Hey, by the way, give them a plug. Hey, we're actually giving away T-shirts for Edge of Indy right now for any good questions that we see on Twitter. If you actually tweet to Edge_of_Indy some questions to our guests, we're gonna scoop those up, ask them, and we'll toss you a T-shirt. So get on the socials real quick. We're also on Facebook. Go check us out there. All right, so you got several celebrity appearances happening. How do people buy the tickets? What's it cost?
So individual tickets are $10 a piece, except for opening and closing nights and awards night. There's a slight premium there because they're either the bigger films or they also include a party afterwards.
Okay.
You can buy a 10-pack of those tickets for $80.
That's sweet.
Yep. And if you're an IMA member, you can buy individual tickets for $8 a piece. And the last option is one of our all-access passes, which is $150. It gets you into every screening, every party, everything. So
$150. Now, obviously, you have different screenings in tandem. There's no way to see all of the movies within the run. You got to pick and choose, right?
you probably could see all of them because we show everything twice. Almost every film is shown twice.
So Indy IMA is one location. What are some of the other locations that you can have?
All of the films, all the screenings are happening at the IMA. We have two theaters there. So the main theater is the Toby, which is where we show our tentpole films. Some of the bigger films are obviously screened in there. We also have the DuBose Lecture Hall where we screen a lot of the same films, and a lot of the shorts are shown in there. Great experience in either venue.
Yeah, cool.
So let me get this straight. For $150, we can literally see 99 movies because you're running them twice over 10 days.
Yes.
That's correct. And
Anybody up for that? I mean, for $150 for all. I mean, oh yeah. By the way, you have a predominance of Hoosier generated films this year, right?
I believe the majority of our American spectrum, which are American films, have Hoosier ties. Yes.
Let's take this to the next level, though. I mean, certainly the audience here knows the value of a pass.
Yep.
Okay. Not only the films you get to go to, we have 3 parties that are catered by duos, with beer from Sun King, with popcorn from Just Pop In.
Okay. Well, let's start over. We got beer.
Yep.
Then we got movies.
And popcorn.
And parties.
Yep. Miniature golf. We've got, the works.
Oh my Lord.
This is a bargain.
It's a bargain for $150. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the summer, you get air conditioning for free. So.
There you go.
Well, fantastic. So you can connect with Indy Film Fest at Indy Film Fest on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, Indy Film Fest. It takes place July 13th through the 23rd. 10 straight nights of first-rate films and filmmaker meet and greets. You can actually meet all of these different filmmakers, right?
That's right.
You visit the website at indyfilmfest.org. Now, I got to spin it back around. You guys are both volunteers.
That's true.
Right? And you're looking for volunteers regularly, and you got a lot of people here that love films, right?
Yeah.
So there on the website, you can actually go and volunteer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a training session tomorrow morning from 11 to noon, and there's a Facebook event for that also. But yeah, if you want to volunteer, go to the website. It's one of the main links to contribute, and then it's under volunteers.
How many
Send us
movies
an
do you
email.
get to see if you
Yeah,
volunteer?
that's what I was going to ask. What are the perks of being a volunteer?
Well, you get swag, you get free tickets. If you're a projectionist, which means you run the system that's showing the films, you get to see a lot. You get to sit there and watch them and make sure that everything works right.
So let me ask, just to wrap up here, let me ask you this. I mean, as volunteers, how'd you get involved? What drives you to do this on a regular basis, on a yearly basis? That's a lot of dedication.
Oh, sure, certainly. Well, let's emphasize this too, that we are an all-volunteer organization.
Right.
Everybody on our board, executive director, all volunteer. We're all skipping out on work right now. I personally got involved by going to the festival. I lucked into an all-access pass, as a matter of fact, and went to a lot of films and very interested in it. Started kind of privately, actively just promoting it on my social media myself, and that led its way into me volunteering, starting as a volunteer, and then you find your way to the board, and now they, for some reason, made me board president. It's a labor of love, heavy on the love.
Yeah.
Excellent.
This is my 7th year with the festival. I knew the person who had my job 7 or 8 years ago, and they needed some help, and I started helping out. And I love the team that we have. I love showing films. I love meeting filmmakers and helping those filmmakers. And Indianapolis, that's what we're doing this for. So.
Oh, fantastic. So for aspiring filmmakers, and you're getting them all the time, brand new filmmakers
Absolutely.
that have never submitted before, and there's such passion and emotion tied to what they're putting together. I mean, this is them, blood, sweat, and tears on the screen, right? What kind of advice would you give new filmmakers of not what to make, but I mean, because you're seeing so many different submissions, right? And you're seeing some standards that are happening from these filmmakers. What kind of advice would you give to those new filmmakers coming up?
I would say and every festival is different. Different festivals have different focuses and different types of programming.
Sure.
Just in general, make the film that you want to make, because you're going to regret it otherwise. It's kind of general life advice, but and don't make a short that's too long or a feature that's too short. So, from a technical aspect, because I started off,
obvious there.
I started off doing projection, and so that's one of the things you notice when doing that a lot of
Right.
times. But make the film you want to make.
Does it help getting involved in all different aspects of the filmmaking, understanding sound, understanding lighting? I mean, as opposed to just directing. I mean, you got to get your hands dirty in a lot of different aspects, right?
Yeah, you definitely need the experienced crew to help you out with that. I honestly think that a great way to get started would be the 48-hour film project, which I mean, I know the problem that artists have when they're trying to create something is, how do you know when it's done?
Right.
And it's, I mean, truly, I think maybe Bob Dylan said a piece of art is never done, it's only done when you abandon it. 48 hours forces you to be done, right? Maybe that's a good first step into the art of filmmaking.
Learn a lot about yourself whenever you're under pressure like that. Speaking of, I'm going to have to wrap up. So, again, we've got Indy Film Fest, July 13th through the 23rd, 10 straight days, fantastic films submitted from all around the world. 99 films to actually screen. They're absolutely looking for volunteers. $150 will get you a full 10-day pass to all the movies, all the great gigs, parties, beer. Sun King's right there, so I mean, you can't pass on that, man. We really honestly should take 10 days off and just go do it.
You should
just use all the vacation days.
All your PTO days at once. Do it.
And if you're very busy, Sunday, the final day of the festival, is our best of. It's a day to come out and see everything that's won awards. It's the best of 48 Hour. It's the best of American Spectrum, best documentary, best foreign film.
So that's the 23rd.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, excellent. So if you want to see the best of the best, go that final day.
That's right.
Beautiful. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. And we're certainly interested in what you're doing, and it's a labor of love. I get that. And thank you for shepherding this cause, because if we didn't have that here in Indianapolis, there'd be so many artists that wouldn't know where to go.
That's right.
Fantastic. All right. Well, coming up, we're going to be joined by Jen Handley and Ben Carlson of Fizziology coming up right after this. Edge Media Studios is kind of an organic love child of Site Strategics. We moved downtown Indianapolis with a mission. The mission was to kind of give a home to our 5-year podcast. It's been a fantastic ride. We've got great downloads for our show, but we had to take it up a notch. We wanted to control the aesthetic of the show, but we also wanted to create an environment where other companies could do their podcast. The studio was a vision, a part of the entire move process. So we moved down and we built out a custom studio that I guarantee is the best in the city for this type of execution. And then on top of that, what evolved out of that was the entire live casting or edge casting experience on the road. The entire studio is mobile. It's completely self-contained. Our entire mixing board, all of our cameras, all of our mics, everything goes with us. We are a self-contained unit, and we can actually broadcast anywhere for any type of event and do the exact same social activation and awareness factor. And we can also reskin the entire thing. So our backdrops, everything can be corporately branded. So we're actually part of your entire organization and bringing such a cutting edge to your brand.
We have pan tilt zoom optical cameras that are completely remote controlled from one console, one computer. So we can map all the different faces, we can map all the different two-shot, single-shot, large, wide shots, all over IP-connected cameras. Everything self-contained and everything programmed, so we can immediately go back to that. So we don't need multiple cameramen, everything's coming from one deck. It's completely unique to Facebook Live. It's completely unique to any type of live cast that you can see. It's TV quality production. We're taking on all the learning curves so you don't have to. I think Edge Media Studios represents a key character factor of site strategics. Part of our mission, part of our goals are to be pioneers in digital technology and digital marketing. It's an emblem or a symbol of what our entire organization is focused on, is to take chances, be able to blaze trails, and be able to define spaces before anybody else does. And Edge Media Studios represents that type of initiative.
This is Edge of Indy, showcasing Indianapolis tech trends, marketing industry champions, and business innovation. Broadcasting from Edge Media Studios. Now, let's get back to today's topic.
All right, guys, hey, we've got t-shirts and you've got questions, so be sure to text, go to tweet edge_of_Indy and get a free t-shirt asking some questions of our guests while we're doing this. So we're back. Are we back? We are back. Welcome back to Edge of Indy, and we're here at Indy PopCon. Indy PopCon, give me a yell! All right. And we're still talking about films, and everybody likes movies, right? All right. So we are joined by a really cool a couple of individuals. We've got Jen Handley and Ben Carlson, who both co-founded and are actually co-CEOs of Fizziology. Now Fizziology, great name, but this is such a cool concept. So, Jen, Ben, tell us what Fizziology is all about.
Yeah, so Fizziology is a social media research firm. We focus on audience insights, understanding what audiences are saying, specifically for the entertainment industry. So we work with all of the major film studios, TV networks, directors, producers.
I'm going to ask you to go a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay.
Unfortunately. so to kind of reiterate, just so I'm spot on, is that this is a social media measurement tool for movies that are about to come out.
Yep. So what we do is we listen to everything that's being said about movies and television and stars on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, blogs. We pull all that together. We take all of those opinions and we convert them into data for the movie studios, so
Beautiful
they can
thing.
understand everything from how to cast their films, so that audiences are excited for them, all the way to predictive analytics to help them understand how big a movie might be.
So basically what you're doing here is doing some testing to be able to see what the public response is. Mm-hmm. Now that public response has to be tied into advertising and the word of mouth, the buzz that's getting out there. So there is also I'm about to go geek on you guys because this is fantastic. Because you're also giving a bit of a signal back to those movies and those producers where they're not performing to create that buzz about their film, right?
Yeah. So we're telling them who's talking, what kind of audience. Is it the same people talking over and over? Do you have new people talking when you put new materials out?
Fantastic.
So you take a movie like Baby Driver, which just came out, Edgar Wright's last film before that, or 2 films ago, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Right. That was a great movie, but it had the same small audience talking over and over again. And with our tools, we were able to see that film had a smaller but incredibly loyal fan base. But with something like Baby Driver, we could see that audience expanding, and they were getting more mainstream audiences who may not know who Edgar Wright is, coming in because it looks like a cool movie. So being able to advise the studio with what's working, and then ultimately, if a movie's going to be, as big as they hope it can be, that's the heart of what we do.
Wow. So this is it's beyond Nielsen, obviously, but it has the Nielsen-esque type of concept.
Nielsen, Arbitron, we talked a lot about all those kinds of rating services when we
Right.
started this, and we said, if we
And those
could
are
be,
archaic. We understand that.
but they're still the
Sorry.
currency for television and radio. And
Right.
so what we wanted to do was be that same kind of data currency,
Right.
ratings currency for what audiences think about all things entertainment.
Absolutely. Now, as you're measuring the ecosystem, then the ecosystem can also be aware of how they're affecting as well. I mean, to the degree, are you looking at, see, again, I'm just going future thought here. I mean, will you be able to see that the social media accounts that are giving the movies this buzz, right, they're actually helping? I mean, to the degree, are the social media, as the public, going to be able to see their effect of how buzzworthy?
Totally.
Excellent.
I mean, there are movies that have changed casting decisions because of audience reaction in social media.
They didn't change Ben Affleck for Batman.
No,
They did not.
No,
No,
but
they didn't.
believe it or not, that's actually one that, while it had negative reported buzz, by and large, mainstream fans were really excited
Stop
about that. It's true. We have data to prove it.
No Batfleck. Just saying. It's fantastic. So literally, you can get not only how well it's going to do in the theaters, but you can adjust casting. You can adjust the concept of the movie almost based on the reception of the audience.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So
how far in advance are you working with these studios?
As soon as the film's announced. So we're tracking from the moment it's announced, all the way through casting, all the way through marketing activations. We're tracking every film, announced up to probably 2022.
Yeah, we're working on movies that will not be coming out till the 2020s at this point.
oh my lord, that's fantastic. So you work with every studio?
Every studio
Nearly
except
every
for one.
Which one?
Disney.
Huh?
Disney.
Oh.
We don't
They're
work with
doing
Disney.
okay on their own.
Yeah, if you have Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, you're okay.
Yeah, DC needs a little bit of help. But so how long have you been providing this type of data to the movie studios?
We started in 2009.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. So early 2010, we signed our first client, Universal Pictures, and it's escalated since.
Oh, fantastic! Now you also you're in order to, as well. I mean, you just won Tech Service of the Year Mirror Award just recently, right?
We did.
Was
We
it this
did.
year?
It was
That
this
was
year.
this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic! Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And for those of you who don't know what the Mirror Award is, it's a Indianapolis award from TechPoint, which is kind of all things industrial tech and marketing tech. And there's a lot of competitors each and every year, probably over 300 competitors.
Yeah, good amount. Yeah.
Yeah, a good amount. And fantastic. That's a great service. So 2009, you've been doing this.
Yeah. So how did the company kind of exist? You guys said you came from a digital marketing background. Were you just sitting in a conference room one day and was like, I wonder if we can just predict movies? And is that how it started, or what was the start?
Can't hear you,
Close.
Tom. You need to speak up in the mic.
We were doing an ad campaign for a local ad agency for Microsoft, which was one of our clients at the time. And I was on site where this video was being released, and Jen was back here in the office. And all of a sudden, this video, which was only released into a room full of developers,
Right.
was suddenly trending on Twitter. And we didn't know what that meant.
And in 2009, Twitter was such a baby. Nobody really
Right.
knew what a trending topic was. We
Right,
couldn't
right,
measure it. And we were doing all of the other advertising analytics around this campaign, but we couldn't put numbers and meaning to what was happening. So it really started from a data analytics, advertising analytics place,
Yep.
but we very quickly moved into entertainment because films are very rich with data.
Right.
There's a repeated behavior, there's a scorecard every week, a certain genre should act a certain way. So we were able to tie together the data and the actual performance of the films and see, that what happened in social media really reflects what happens in the real world.
That's amazing, and I think that would be probably the most ripest industry to be able to clamber into this and appreciate this type of
A challenging industry,
Yeah.
not one that's really welcoming of outsiders, and not one where our Hoosier roots necessarily helped us.
Oh, come on.
But the good news, and one of the other reasons why we picked entertainment, was that you just take one flight and you're in the city where all of the clients are. They're all in LA, so we wouldn't have to hopscotch across the country or around the world. We could just go there, call on everyone that could use the services. And it's a relatively small town. Once you kind of break into the industry and start to work with the studios, you can really knock a lot of them down.
Huh. So you're saying, there's a barrier of entry. There was a barrier of entry.
Yeah.
How receptive are your clients to your data now?
Very
receptive.
Yeah. I mean, we do. Again, we work with nearly every studio. Probably 85% of all major wide releases we work on, and that's everything from early trailer analysis all the way through tracking and telling them how big the movie's going to be.
All right. Now another getting into the social media analytics world, the abuse of spam bots.
Yep.
And all the claptrap inside of just the fake news and the fake interaction. In fact, there was a news story just, 3 weeks ago about all the click traffic from a Philippine bank of smartphones,
Yep.
where there were thousands of phones that people were just clicking on to build up click paths and click traffic. So there is an obvious continual spam agent that's out there, and it's used for so many different instances. Could this not also be exploited? I know you're going to say no because it's awesome stuff, but what's your vigilance to screen and clean that out?
Real people. So we're a mix of tech and service. We have real people reading and scoring these feeds, and when we see those patterns and we see unusual behavior, we're able to delete out all of that spam conversation. It happens frequently.
Now, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
Especially if if the studios or the independents clue into, hey, the studios are using this data. Let's jam on.
Yes.
Let's make buzz.
But if it's fake, if it's coming out of a phone bank in the Philippines, it's not actually going to map to reality. So the studios themselves don't usually do anything like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
When we do find them, though, one of the ways that we're able to spot them so easily is that we have benchmarks for what the data should look like. So if a film suddenly has a massive spike, we can either know that they released a piece of content or there was some kind of news event around that film, or we can look, and oftentimes it's a spam bot. We can right size the data to get rid of it.
So I saw on your website, it's also kind of interesting, you do entertainment, but you also work in other industries. Talk about some of those other industries you work on, and are there any other ones you're looking in the future?
Yeah, there's always expansion in entertainment, so more into television. We work with a handful of celebrities. There's more work to be done there. We have an international division, so we're in 14 international markets, so there's more expansion there. But we work in travel and tourism and millennial-focused retail, and those are both categories that are kind of hurting in their own ways.
Yeah.
Millennial-focused retail, you've got your traditional brick and mortar, really doesn't know where to go.
Absolutely.
And so we have a couple of flagship clients there.
That's really interesting because, as we understand millennial purchasing paths, it's right here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's such a challenge for brick and mortars. So how are they, if you can even talk about this, how are they exploring the use of your data to help them overcome what could be an atrophying scenario?
It's for all of our clients, it really is about a better understanding of their target audience. And so for the retailers, the more they can understand the purchase behavior, the path to purchase, but also what those audiences want in their stores. It's everything from, do we set up locations in the dressing rooms to have more of a selfie environment for people to be able to share, to when they're launching new product lines.
That's a slippery slope, you realize that.
It can be. But to even when they're going to be launching new product lines, what's going to be important, if they have a celebrity tied into it, who is the right celebrity. It has multiple layers to it.
Huh. Well, go ahead.
I would say we got a couple minutes left, so I wanted to, you guys want to talk about the Hatch too. That's where your offices are located, and you have a co-working facility. Kind of explain that.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we were outgrowing our little house in Broad Ripple that our office was housed in. And we did a whole survey of the commercial real estate market in Indianapolis and just couldn't find anything appropriate. We have a very young staff, very energetic. They need to collaborate a lot. So we couldn't really find anything that we liked, and we decided to build it ourselves. So we built the Hatch with kind of the philosophy that we go to all these amazing places, these great office buildings and Twitter headquarters and movie studios, and we come back so inspired by the location that we've been in, and we don't have a lot of that here. So this is a traditional co-working environment, a very open, very diverse environment, very diverse membership base, and yeah, located in Broad Ripple. And so it's a separate company, but Fizziology is housed there. We have our own headquarter office there and membership, month-to-month membership.
The energy of collaboration and creativity that you feel when you're on a movie studio a lot, where you can just kind of grab a camera and make anything happen. We really wanted to create an environment that people could come in, pay a low monthly membership fee, and have that spirit. So we have some people who use it for just traditional co-working in an office setting for themselves. We also have a creative studio there with podcasting booth, with video and photography sections, with painting easels. So just a way for people to work in a way that hasn't previously been available in Indianapolis.
No, it's fantastic. So what has the response of your clients been to an Indianapolis headquartered office?
For Fizziology?
Yeah.
It's always a little bit of surprise.
Yeah.
Really?
And at first it was something that we didn't kind of proudly say out loud because we didn't know what the reaction was going to be. But it's since changed.
No Hoosier shame, come on.
Little Hoosier shame. But what ended up happening, what was so interesting, is once our clients knew us, respected our work, our data, our understanding of the industry, they really were taken with the fact that we were here. We have people who are analyzing these movies where they're not being swayed by conversation they overhear in a local restaurant, or, oh, I have a friend who read that script and they said it sucked. All that stuff that happens when you're inside the bubble of Los Angeles. We're outside of that. So there's a purity with our research and our methodology that I think all of our clients really appreciate, that they know that when they get it, it's straight shooting. It's nothing that's spun.
I can only imagine how refreshing it is to be able to have that counterpoint, because things get spun in LA so much.
Yes.
And I mean, buzz can be fabricated, and you've got influencers there that make things happen, and literally you can counterpoint that with, okay, this is what's trending, this is what's this is where the loyalists are, this is what the audience is looking for.
Yeah.
We really do feel like we have to honor the opinions of the people out there. We represent what the audiences at large are thinking and sharing with their friends and their family and their fellow fans. And it is our responsibility to take that and put it into a form that the studios and the filmmakers and everyone can take in and have really impact their film. So I think being here in Indianapolis, we have an ability to be closer to the audience than we could if we were in LA or New York.
So I got to ask, because we had a lot of PopCon fans here, can you mention any of the movies that you've actually done studies for?
Most of them.
Yeah, almost all of them. So I mean, everything from the releasing today with Spider-Man to later on this year, we're really looking forward to some movies we worked on for a while, like Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a great one, and that's one we've been working on for a while.
I bet the response is huge about Blade Runner.
It is.
Yeah, I bet.
Tremendous. That's going to be a special movie.
Yeah, fantastic. We're certainly asking for any questions from our audience. If you want to tweet to Edge_of_Indy, we can certainly give any questions to our audience. But I got to ask to our guests here. I got to ask, where in the world did the name Fizziology come from?
So we had been, when we were talking about what was happening in social, we kept using the term what's bubbling up, what's bubbling up in the conversation. And so Fizz was a natural fit, and it was the science and the study of what's bubbling up in the conversation.
All right. Well, that makes
sense.
perfect sense, actually. Well, I got one more question here regarding observations that you've had on movies. Did you ever completely disagree with what you were seeing coming from social media regarding some of the movies that you were analyzing? I mean, you've got to have that. I mean, you don't obviously share it with your clients.
Right.
But I mean, could you not not believe Ben Affleck? You just couldn't believe that something was being accepted, or conversely.
There are always two sides to the conversations. So there's always one way that we can say. So for those who really weren't happy with the Batfleck decision, there certainly were people who were. And that's the beauty of looking across all social. Well, I mean,
it's a little bit like
we give our opinion, but we state it as opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, and we again kind of representing the voice of the people. It's kind of like having. Being mad at the song that's on the top of the pop charts.
Right.
It's what's popular. It's what popular opinion is. It may not necessarily be your cup of tea. I certainly have movies that I care more for than others, but from what we do, it really is, understanding and relating what's popular opinion.
Part of our training with our staff is every film has an audience. You may hate it, you may think it's horrible. Every film has an audience.
Oh, very cool. So. We talked about the different other areas, different verticals that you're taking. Are you looking at music?
We've done a little bit in music. It's hard just because the nature of the music industry has changed so much over the last 15, 20 years. That the labels aren't what the labels used to be, but we do some things in music. We help, especially for kind of soundtrack and trailer music for film and television. We'll do work around that. We are getting more conversations happening around sports, so that's another new category for us that we're moving into.
I was curious, politics, is that?
We have avoided it.
Yeah.
We could, absolutely. We're not going to.
You could, though.
We could.
We could. We did a little testing around it a couple of years back, and
2012.
then didn't have the stomach for it.
No, I recommend stay at the third rail right there. All right, well, for our audience, being a Indianapolis-based organization, organically grown, pun intended, from Indiana, what kind of recommendations can you give to other firms starting out to base their business here in Indianapolis as opposed to leaving to go to LA or go to Chicago? Because we're always focused on choosing local and on the show, and you certainly are a local firm that's done good. So,
Thank you.
What kind of advice can you give other firms?
I think one thing that we think a lot about and talk a lot about is the fact that being local and being an Indianapolis business doesn't mean that you have to sell to Indianapolis. I think there is a geographic bias, and I think a lot of companies like ours would have, years ago moved the base of operations to Los Angeles. And anymore with the way that technology works with transportation, there's just not the need to do that. I think the advice I would give to other Indianapolis businesses is to, be proud of being here and celebrate what's amazing about Indianapolis as a base for business, but also look to your client base outside of 465. We have no clients inside of the state of Indiana, never have, and that hasn't slowed us down a bit. And I think there's a kind of a traditional methodology locally here in Indy of you sell local, you find a couple of key local clients, and then you grow. And I think for trying to try to swing hard and make a dent in the world, oftentimes you just need to get on that plane, go elsewhere, and sign up that business and bring that back, because bringing back that revenue to Indianapolis, that's that great circulation that really helps the market grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other way of really looking at it from how to invest in Indianapolis, instead of just bringing tech money here, bringing VC money here. Actually, just starting here, there's a great lifestyle, there's a great cost of living here, but going out, killing it, and then bringing it home.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, well, Thank you so much for your time today. Check out Fizziology and the Hatch. If you're an entrepreneur, you need a co-working facility in Broad Ripple, go up to the Hatch and check that out. You can see everything that Fizziology does at Fizziology.com. Facebook, Fizziology, obviously, and on all the socials, Fizziology. I don't think that name was taken.
It was.
It was.
Wow.
There was a South African rapper who went by Fizziology, and luckily he
Was he trending?
No. He had about 20 followers. Luckily he let it lapse, and we were able to swoop in and take it.
Oh my gosh, that was like David and Goliath. I mean, you quashed his dreams there.
Yeah, well, his flow wasn't great, so.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. You can follow our guests at Jen SVH, right, and SWEVEN Ben. Okay, you just flipped that around, didn't you?
Sweven Ben.
Sweven Ben.
That's it.
Go follow them on Twitter, and these are the folks that are guiding these studios to make casting decisions and following what you guys are doing in social media. So rest assured, they're manning the turrets and giving them great feedback to these movie studios. So thank you so much for your time. I think that's a wrap for today.
That's a wrap.
Just want to make sure that you pay attention to Edge of Indy. We're always focusing on choosing local businesses here in Indianapolis, and we really appreciate the time to be able to come out here. And thanks so much, Brad Shoemaker, for manning the board. Awesome guy from Creative Zombie. Thanks so much, and be sure to catch us next week as we're back in the studio, actually the following week.
Following.
So if you haven't checked out PopCon, check it out. Obviously, this is going to be airing after the show, but come back regularly to PopCon. It's a fantastic effort, fantastic event. All the PopConners, give us a big yell! All right, fantastic. That is Edge of Indy. See you real soon. Bye-bye.